Well, I caught up with the President Zardari shortly after he'd concluded his meeting with the Prime Minister. I began by asking him what he said to David Cameron about the Prime Minister's accusation that Pakistan looks two ways on terrorism.
I think we engage with friends on the positive and we let the negatives behind. So we engaged on the positive. We engaged on the things that Pakistan had done, and we talked about the future. We talked about better relationship, and I think there's a realization in the world that Pakistan needs more support.
And neither of you raised the remarks by the Prime Minister then?
I think we engaged in a conversation like two adults do, and as a responsible Prime Minister and the President, and we talked about the positives.
As you know, the Prime Minister has made it clear that friends speak frankly to friends, and your friendship is encased in this communique that came out after your meeting. But, you know, the evidence has been pages of intelligence data, London School of Economics report saying that it's official ISI policy for Pakistan to support the Taliban.
No. I wouldn't go that far. First of all, those Wikipedia leaks you're talking about, those have been, rubbished by everybody. The Vice President of America turns around and says that we've never had a stronger relationship than we've had since the last 2 years. These are all part of it. Most of it is hearsay, most of it is chatter, and we are working together with all possible efforts, with all independent sources can verify that Pakistan is more of the, has the blunt edge of this battle than anybody else. We've lost more soldiers than the world put together. I've lost my wife. We've lost our workers, my personal friends, my personal, workers of the party, who are like kids to us. We've lost them to this war. So I don't think anybody doubts our intentions on this war. But there can always be weaknesses which need to be strengthened, yes. There are weaknesses on both sides which need to be worked upon, and Pakistan needs more resources.
But the way it's seen and been portrayed in the West is that you would like to do all these things, but you cannot control, even as President of Pakistan, the ISI and what elements within the ISI are doing with their links to the Taliban.
I don't think that is the way it is seen. I don't think that is I think that is the way the press needs to spin it, because there's no news like bad news. But I don't think if that was the case, then the Vice President would not give such a strong statement. If that is the case, then we would not be getting this joint communique. You understand that?
Indeed, but everyone understands the sacrifices of your country, the sacrifices that you yourself have made. The picture of your wife is behind you. And yet, Richard Holbrooke, the US Special Envoy to the region, says the links between the ISI and the Taliban are a problem. It's not just the British Prime Minister that's raised it, it's been raised privately with you, and it's been raised
with that is why he says that Pakistan needs $50 billion support. So what you pick up from where and which context it is spoken in is totally different. As far as I'm concerned, my friend Richard Holbrooke is a great supporter of democracy and of Pakistan and our war, and everybody is satisfied with Pakistan is doing more than its share.
Will you then ensure that the ISI and the British intelligence services and the American intelligence services fully cooperate with each other?
I think that they are already cooperating with each other.
You said this week, quoted in Le Monde as saying NATO is losing the war against the Taliban. Is the war in Afghanistan a lost cause?
I think there's no question of a lost cause, because defeat is not an option. Neither is it an option for me, nor is it an option for the world. So I think NATO is losing its young boys, is losing its people and putting in a lot of effort. Pakistan is losing and has lost a lot of young men. And we're all putting our best efforts, but I feel that the world community needs to do much more.
If you're saying that it's not a lost cause, and yet your remarks were NATO is losing the war against the Taliban, what should NATO do?
Hearts and minds.
How do you win the hearts and minds?
Hearts and minds, that's what I'm coming to. What you do is you come up with a Marshall Plan, like you did for Europe after the Second World War. when you pumped in money in the commercial side of the conflict. The fact is that Afghanistan needs support, Pakistan needs support to become stronger states so we can be stronger allies. Therefore, I'm asking for market access in the EU and market access in the United States, and I'm talking about trade and not aid.
So you're not looking for cash, you're not looking for handouts?
No, I'm not looking for handouts. I don't want handouts. I'm not saying that we don't need support. We do need support.
But do you worry that the mood in London and in Washington, whatever is said publicly, is to get out of Afghanistan, and you will still be there because you will still be on the border, whether British troops are there or not? It will end up being your problem.
First of all, we don't, hypothetical questions we don't do. We don't do hypothetical exercises. It's 5 years away. Hopefully by then the war will subsidize. Hopefully by then the world will think of better ways of controlling the area, and we will all work together towards a better Afghanistan and a better Pakistan.
But that's perhaps why your High Commissioner here, reflecting some of the anger back in Pakistan about the remarks, said that our Prime Minister showed these were the immature comments. Immature was the word he used, of an immature politician that really, really rankled with people back home when it comes to hearts and minds. That didn't win many hearts and minds in Pakistan.
That's the idea. The idea is to keep the politics out of this conversation and talk about practical things. Let's keep the politics out. Let's work. So that was what I'm talking about. Let's work together. There are weaknesses all around. There has been weaknesses all around. Let's strengthen our strengths and find our weaknesses and do something about it.
It is, however, a war right on your doorstep. It's not on ours, and there is considerable fears here for the safety of the young British men, particularly, who are out there fighting.
Nobody is more fearful for Pakistan than I am. I've lost more individually, personally, and collectively. It is my people who are dying. It is my family that is still hurt. And it's my family that needs to, face them in the future.
How worried are you about British homegrown terrorism with roots in Pakistan?
I don't think British homegrown terrorism has roots, or any terrorism has roots in Pakistan. I've always maintained terrorism passes through Pakistan. It doesn't evolve in Pakistan.
But as you know, that some of those who've been involved in terrorist incidents here claim to have been trained in Pakistan.
Not really trained in Pakistan, but have walked through Pakistan to some places in the mountains, yes.
But do you see a role for Pakistan in stopping it?
I think Pakistan is a willing participant to stop all insurgencies, all kind of wars, because we don't believe in the negative. We're looking for the positive. Therefore, I'm asking for more strength, which is self-created. A country which can be self-financing, so I can spend much more on my people, spend much more on my infrastructure, and make Pakistan a secure state for all the coming generations to come.
On that point, we've heard, of course, of this humanitarian catastrophe in your country. Millions of people have lost their homes as a result of the floods. How much time have you been spending while you're here trying to coordinate efforts back home?
The minute I took off from Pakistan, I first landed in Abu Dhabi. I met the Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, and spoke to him. He promised me that he's going to send a team to see what effect the war, the floods have done to Pakistan, and I am hoping of a lot of support from them to help us after this flood is over, because you can't do anything while the floods are on. And then I went to France. The French promised me money for the flood relief. Britain has today committed £20 million for the flood relief. There is a chief executive at home, what people don't do and don't understand. And
the Prime Minister.
Who is the chief executive? And I'm the one who's given all the powers from the presidency to the parliament. The parliament is in session, Senate is in session. It's the Prime Minister's responsibility, and he's fulfilling his responsibility.
But we've also heard this morning that failures by your government have led to some militant groups filling the humanitarian gap.
No, it's not failures from my government. It's a question of whoever has the resources. So some places we've got to, some places some other groups have got to help the people. And everybody is working towards the same goal, to help the people. Now, always the militant groups have always had this, another arm which does schooling and does hospitalization and is funded from all sorts of places from the world. So they always come into they all become active when such a catastrophe happens, and we saw them in the Kashmir.
But that's not a problem for you.
We saw that in the Kashmir earthquake. It's not a problem for me. They still are not going to win an election from me.